Okay, I'm not talking about Miss Wednesday by mistake here. It's lining up pretty damn well. But today we have to talk about this conspiracy. And I didn't touch on it in depth based on everything we know, but it's about Vivi, Sabo, Luffy, and where Oda could possibly go with what's going on. Right now for Sabo, it looks crazy, considering what we know, what transpired, and point blank period, we don't know enough. So we're gonna try and base this off of what we know. And what we know so far is that Cobra is dead, Sabo was blamed for it, and Vivi's also missing. I guess the first thing we can address is a possibility that all we know is incorrect. Again, we're gonna try to go off of what we know, but we just have to clear the air really quickly. Cobra is dead, quote unquote. That could be false. Sabo killed him. That more than likely is false. Vivi being missing. That is true in a sense, but it could be a part of a specific strategy. So here's the thing. I'm gonna go on a Vivi tangent really quickly. But before that, if you're here for the first time, be sure to subscribe to the channel. That helps me out. It lets me know you enjoy content like this. And there's a lot more to come. Trust me. For Vivi though, I always wondered how Oda was gonna tie things back in. At the end of the Alabasta arc, nobody could convince me that Vivi was not joining the crew. I thought she fit perfectly in what we expected of a Straw Hat. If I'm being honest, even better than Nico Robin. What I loved about Vivi especially is that she was not the typical princess. And I'm talking about the princesses that Luffy typically saves, where they need saving. Vivi could hold her own. Yes, they had moments where she definitely overestimated her abilities, like when she challenged Zoro. She was able to sneak into Baroque works, and we see how far she's willing to go for her country. Again, Vivi is the character that from the beginning, even when she was a child, she understood grace and even politics. When Wappo slapped the shit out of her, she took it, and she understood if this goes further, this will cause an international incident, and I have to be cool, calm, and collected for my country. When we talk about sacrifice, character, dedication, she was willing to lose her legs to escape Mr. Three's Candle prison. Alabasta, being in a state of emergency, she told them, yo, we can go get medical help for Nami. Selfless. So she had all the traits required of a Straw Hat. Even still, at the end of Alabasta, she said, if I wanted to become a Nakama, when we meet again, will you allow it? Similar to Yamato. So Vivi will join the crew at some point, but I was always interested in how Oda would get us there. The path is in front of us now, but it is with a twist. First off, Nefertari Vivi is missing. Nefertari Vivi is fiercely loyal to her country. Nefertari Cobra is fiercely loyal to Vivi and his country, but was always very worried about Vivi's safety. It's interesting now how things kind of take a turn where Cobra is the one that's in danger, and honestly, he probably caused it because of his inquiries about what was going on, and he knew it was dangerous. So I wonder what things he had in place for his daughter, because he was always worried about her safety. When she was missing, he was always intent on Vivi's safety. So this could be a part of his plan he had in place, knowing something could happen to me. Either way, let's assume he was taken out by the Celestial Dragons, specifically the Gorosei. He has a plan in place. And Vivi, again, like I said about Vivi, she's not a typical princess. If something goes awry, she can take care of herself. Vivi was also very knowledgeable. So it would not be surprising if she knows that Sabo's Luffy's brother, knows that they're revolutionaries, and seeing them fighting the animals and getting away, she's like, you know what? This is probably my best chance out of here. And then by happenstance, they all leave together, and she leaves with Sabo. But where could they go? Where do they go from here? Sabo was separated from everyone else. First, let's address what Sabo did and what we assume Sabo did. I don't think Sabo killed Cobra. Sabo, in my opinion, is obviously being set up, and everything backfired on the world government because they thought everyone would turn on the revolutionaries. No, it propped him up. Where could Sabo go? A part of this puzzle is also the fact that Vivi could have some very important significance to her. Why am I saying that? Well, Imu, when we saw him looking at all the bounty posters of people, out of all the people that were there, Blackbeard, Luffy, Shirahoshi, he chose Vivi's poster. Now, this is not a knock on Vivi. That's like having Snickers, Twix, Reese's Puffs, and Butterfingers, and then choosing Butterfingers. I'm just saying, out of all those people, Vivi was the last one I expected to be selected. For what reason, I have no idea. But this was after they were talking about the Great Cleansing. Maybe the Nefertari, because of some past animosity, was next to be cleansed. But why choose Vivi? Why not Cobra? He's the king. Vivi was chosen. That's why Vivi is speculated to be either an ancient weapon, someone of great importance toward the final saga. But her and Luffy are destined to meet again, in my opinion. Now, the great twist here, Oda may just write it off as something very simple, and I may be overthinking this, but Luffy's gonna find out the information. Of course, Oda is teasing so many different things because the burn scar thing is a thing that the Straw Hats don't know, we don't know, but it seems like other people know. And I did make a burn scar video. What's interesting about that is the first inclination was Sabo, but they're like, Sabo has something to do with the One Piece. But in the Road to Laugh Tale volume, the volumes that came out while One Piece was on break in July, it mentioned that it had 3 islands that could possibly hold road poneglyphs. One was Fullerled, one was Elbath, and one was Vita. Vita is the island in which there was a lot of coup d'etats happening, and it's tied to the revolutionaries. So Sabo being the man burned by fire, scarred by fire, it's not far-fetched that he has something to do with the One Piece going forward. So Sabo could be the final piece in regards to Luffy going to Laugh Tale, but Vivi could also be that as well. So we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone, where Luffy and Sabo meet again. Vivi goes with Luffy at this point because she has nowhere to return to, and Sabo provides the final road poneglyph. But we have to address the elephant in the room. Sabo, what happened to Cobra? You're being blamed for it. Now, assuming Vivi is with Sabo, if Luffy sees them together, he will discern, okay, more than likely these things didn't happen, but Luffy was willing to throw hands with Zoro over food. Because the people fed him and Zoro beat him up, he felt like Zoro deserved an ass whooping. One of my favorite moments in One Piece, just one of the obscure, cool moments where Luffy and Zoro are actually fighting because Luffy completely misread the situation. Either way, the question is gonna come up. Sabo, what happened? And I think that would be the perfect time for Oda to show and explain what transpired in Mary Joa. How did Cobra die? What happened to him? Did Sabo see anything? Because Sabo went there to win. He said, we either win or we die. And it's really interesting how much his philosophy differs from Dragon, which I think that's necessary, right? With your right hand or somebody that's with you, not necessarily different philosophies, but they have different ways of doing things where you guys can hold each other accountable, and that's how you progress. You challenge each other. And in this way, I don't think Sabo was challenging Dragon. I think he was just tired of Dragon's shit, and he cared about his friend, and he wanted to be proactive. He wanted to be intentional about his actions. Back to Luffy and Sabo, the conversation comes up. Sabo, what happened? Where is Cobra? Did you kill Cobra? Which for Luffy, it's always a mystery because you don't know how he's going to react to everything. Sometimes he reacts in a way in which you expect. I remember when Luffy went to Wano and then Tama said she was waiting for Ace. I was like, okay, what does Luffy do now? This is, okay, after the time skip. A lot of time has passed since Ace's death. What does Luffy say? I had no idea. Ace is dead. I was not sure what to expect. And I think that unpredictability is somewhat the core of One Piece and what we love. There are moments in which the unpredictability can backfire, like Yamato not joining and a lot of the fandom being so invested in this character, they start turning on Oda. Turning might be a bit strong, but a lot of people weren't happy. Let's walk through this. Sabo does it. Said, hey, I had to kill Cobra. It was part of the plan. He asked me to do it. How does Luffy react to that? Because he still took a life. Sabo doesn't do it. He says he's being framed. Luffy's like, I know my brother would not kill anybody, right? Because Dragon is even saying, if Sabo did this, I will not forgive him. I think in a revolution, you must be willing to do the things that's necessary for victory. But we also cannot leave out the fact that Vivi would currently be with Sabo, and maybe reluctantly she would travel with somebody that killed her father. It would be an amazing twist. Like I said, Oda is always subverting expectations, right? And we all expected Cobra to be killed by the Gorosei or kidnapped or something because he was inquiring too much. That's just their MO. What if Sabo did actually do it? What if he looked at Cobra as the enemy and he was really just trying to save Kuma? What if it was all an accident, but he actually did do it? How will Luffy feel about that betrayal? Because Vivi will be a Straw Hat. She will rejoin the crew and sail with the crew, possibly to Laugh Tale, because her importance is not yet fleshed out. At that point, how is that resolved? Will Luffy lose his only brother again? Will this lead to that final war in which they're on different factions, where it's Luffy versus the revolutionaries versus the Marines, which is unlikely, I think. But I think it'd be a great conflict. And guys, let's be honest, character conflict in One Piece is some of the best stuff in the story. That's why people talk about Sanji versus Luffy so much, and Sanji's decision to go to Whole Cake Island. That's why people talk about Usopp versus Luffy and Zoro versus Usopp, and different ideologies and approaches to things. And Oda may be going this way here. That's why the Hiyori chapter was so polarizing, because everyone expected Hiyori or the people of Wano to somewhat forgive the Kurozomi and say, okay, let's move forward and live together in peace. Hiyori basically said, nah, I want all the smoke. I understand you don't have to get into puns and Japanese translate. Japanese fans were mad as well, and I'm sure they understand puns way more than any of us. A lot of them were infuriated as well. They did not like how things wrapped up. It left a sour taste in their mouth. You feel how you feel, you like what you like. Either way, Vivi is ultimately being forced into piracy. Sabo might be forced into exile, and Luffy might be forced to make a decision if Sabo did actually do this. But I, for one, cannot wait to find out what occurred in Mary Joa and with Cobra, and what will be Sabo's plan going forward, right? But guys, give me your thoughts. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BroggerDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BroggerD.ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys all so much. Again, guys, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
okay. I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.